The election choice in this country just became even clearer and the campaign hasn't even begun. After so many elections that have been a choice between Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the Opposition Leader Peter Dutton is giving voters a stark alternative to Labor Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. With reactions reverberating around the world after the Oval Office blow-up between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the weekend, Dutton and Shorten displayed bipartisan support for Ukraine yesterday. But today, Dutton and Albanese, I should say, of course, but today they parted ways on just how far that support would go. The Prime Minister Anthony Albanese does not rule out sending Australian soldiers to Ukraine.
There's discussion at the moment about potential peacekeeping, and from my government's perspective, we're open to consideration of any proposals going forward. Australia has historically played an important role in areas including in Africa, in Cyprus, in a range of peacekeeping areas. We want to see peace in Ukraine, but we want to make sure that the illegal, immoral actions of Russia are not rewarded, and that Vladimir Putin and his designs, which are imperialistic, not just on Ukraine but on other countries, are not rewarded or encouraged.
Open to any proposals. That's a major call, especially given the way our Defence Force is stretched with deployments in the Middle East and in our Asia-Pacific region. In fact, it's an extraordinary call. Australian troops being sent as peacekeepers into what is and has been an active war zone for 3 years. And this just as Donald Trump has paused all assistance for Ukraine. Peter Dutton reckons keeping the peace in Ukraine is a job for European nations.
In terms of whether we should have boots on the ground in Ukraine, I don't support that. I think the Europeans have that task, and I think what President Trump's pointed out is that the Europeans need to do more in the defence of Europe. And that's a statement of the obvious.
Look, it's hard to fathom Labor's position here. In the past, they've mocked former Prime Minister Tony Abbott for saying he'd shirt-front Russian President Vladimir Putin. And they've traditionally been more sceptical about our diggers joining missions abroad. Has Albo gone for this position because he wants to highlight a point of difference with Donald Trump? Does he really think it's an appropriate role for our soldiers? Or is he so politically vulnerable over his defence and foreign policy weakness that he felt he needed to remain open to this idea? Either way, it's hard to see this position lasting very long. Dutton's policy of upholding the current bipartisan position of providing ongoing military equipment and humanitarian support to Ukraine, but stopping short of sending troops, is likely to be much more popular with voters. And it makes the most sense given the geopolitical realities. This difference could well be settled within a few days with a backflip from Albanese before the election campaign begins. And that would be just another Albo national security muck-up. We will see.